Hi, I'm Mindy Mercaldo, head of U.S. Branch Network for Citi's U.S. Consumer Bank. On behalf of us here at Citi, I am pleased to welcome you to the Citi Taste of Tennis Legend Series. The world may look a little different these days, but we're thrilled to be able to serve up a unique virtual experience that allows you to cook at home alongside leading chefs and talk tennis with some of the greatest players to ever take the court. I know you're excited to get started, so without further ado, put on your Citi Taste of Tennis apron and let's get cooking. Over to you, Prakash.
Thanks very much for the intro, Mindy. Tonight is our third event in our Legend series, and I really could not be more excited. As an exclusive Citi Gold private client, you're going to get to enjoy a lovely evening private cooking lesson from world-renowned celebrity chef Marc Murphy, and of course, we're going to get to pick the brain of one of the most kindest, bravest, and most brilliant tennis minds we've had in our sport, the incomparable Billie Jean King. Now, not only do we get to learn to cook an incredible meal, but this is a chance for all of you guys to be involved. So I want you guys to all jump in, ask a bunch of questions for Billie Jean, as well as Marc. There's a chat function on the top right corner of your screen. So as you're cooking, just feel free. The more questions, the better. We want everyone involved. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have put it on already, but I have my Citi Taste of Tennis apron on. It would be great if you guys throw that on as well. You guys might be whipping up a drink, a glass of wine while you're getting ready for this beautiful meal. While you're doing that, just want to share some brief highlights about our event. Now, Taste of Tennis is produced by AYS Sports Marketing and was first held 20 years ago in New York City back in 2000. Since then, we've hosted more than 40 of these events, most recently January 2020 in Melbourne, Australia. Citi Taste of Tennis kicks off major tournaments in both North America and Australia and has entertained some of the biggest tennis talents on tour. Each event, of course, has food prepared by the leading chefs and the world's top tennis players. I've been fortunate enough to attend a bunch of these events over my tennis career, and I'll tell you, for us players, it's a huge release. You kind of forget all of your worries, and personally, it combines some of my absolute favorite things, which is bringing cultures together, bringing all types of different people together. You have storytelling through food, and of course, you're combining that with sport. So it's a real release for all the players, and I certainly hope once things, God willing, return back to normal, all of you will be able to join one of these events in person, walk down that beautiful Citi Taste of Tennis red carpet, and just enjoy what is widely regarded as the premier off-court event on the tennis tour. And just a quick housekeeping tip for all of you social media wizards out there, make sure to follow @Taste of Tennis. You'll get updates on all our live and digital events coming up. And if you're posting photos from tonight, which we certainly encourage you to do, tag us. Tag @Citi Taste of Tennis so we can share, repost, and show everyone what a wonderful evening this was. Now, I guess without further ado, it's an absolute pleasure to bring on the man who was judge on Food Network's Chopped, author of Seasoned with Authority, Confident Home Cooking, and of course has the brilliant podcast, host of Food 360 on iHeartRadio. Celebrity chef and Citi Taste of Tennis veteran, Mr. Marc Murphy.
Prakash, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction and that very embarrassing picture of me trying to play tennis. As you can see, I don't really have a tennis racket. I have a spider. This is how we take hot food out of boiling water. But thank you very much for having me. I'm making one of my favorite recipes. Can you guys hear me okay? Everybody's good?
I think everyone's good.
I hope so.
Nice and clear.
Awesome. But first of all, I want to make sure just to go over a couple basics here. As you said, you got to put your Citi apron on, which I've done already. Before we start cooking, I want to give people a chance. You got to get your water boiling. I've got my water boiling over here. You have to have your bacon cut up, and I know we have your pancetta or your bacon, whatever you have, or guanciale, it depends. We've got our eggs. We've got our Parmigiano Reggiano, and we've got some little black pepper here. Because I like a little extra black pepper. I lived in Rome for a long time, and the one thing I learned about carbonara is you have to have a nice little kick of black pepper in this dish. Very, very important. So that you're gonna start off. I would see the recipe is up now. You guys all have the recipe. You have all your ingredients. You're ready to go. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna season, just like my book says, season with authority. You're gonna season your pasta water. Now, when you think you put enough in, you got to put a little more in, because it's important when your pasta, especially when you're using dried pasta, that salt is going to bring flavor to your pasta. It's got to be in there. You can't add it afterwards. It's not going to really work. So you got to season your water very, very carefully. And then you're going to start getting your pan hot for your bacon. You're going to get your eggs are room temperature. They're sitting out. If they're not, don't worry about it. I've broken that rule before in my life as well. I guess we should, I don't know, do you want me to start cooking, Prakash, or do you have to do any more introductions? There's another very, very famous person here, isn't there?
Well, there certainly is, but just Mark, a little bit about the recipe. How did we come up with this? Why is this one of your favorite dishes? I know there's of course a relationship to many of the dishes that you make. So what is it with the one that we're having tonight?
Well, carbonara is probably the first dish I ever learned how to make. My father was an American diplomat. I traveled all over the world, lived a lot all over the place. I was born in Milan, but I lived in Rome for a long time. And it was one of my favorite dishes as a kid, carbonara. And I decided when I was going to start cooking, I was going to make carbonara. So it was one of the first dishes I learned how to make. I even ended up being put in a boarding school in New Hampshire. And I remember getting a hot plate in my room because I could not have a bowl of carbonara every once in a while. The cafeteria food wasn't very good, so I had to do it myself. That's sort of where I started getting into having to, most of the time I got into cooking because I was hungry. I mean, let's face it. I was terrible in school, but I was really good at being hungry. So this is why I got into eating and started cooking. So, and this is probably one of the, it's a quick recipe. It's a recipe that I feel like everybody seems to think they know how to do, but I want to make sure we might have to make some adjustments for some people here, because there's no cream in carbonara. That's the most important lesson we're going to learn today.
Now, Mark, before a bunch of questions come in, which I'm sure there are going to be, and again, just really want to encourage everyone out there. This is an exclusive event just for you, Citi Gold private clients. So please send in your questions. But I'm going to use this opportunity to ask you a question, which I've wanted to ask. Now, we did see you with a picture with a tennis racket there, and tennis players generally fall into the category of very structured, where, everything is by the book, by the inch, and then you have tennis players who a little bit more by feel. So as a chef and one of the best in the world, which category do you fall under? Are you very rigid in your recipes, or a little bit more of a feel guy?
Happy you're asking me about my cooking and not my tennis, because my tennis is definitely by feel. I just hope I get to the ball. But my cooking is a little bit that way as well. It's a lot about my feeling. It's about, people ask me sometimes, what are you going to make? And I says, I don't know. I don't know what I have. And if you set your mind on making something, you go to the grocery store and it doesn't look good, well, you're not making that. So you have to go with, I let the product and the ingredients speak to me, and then I start cooking. And then I start coming up with a recipe or how to develop it or how to layer flavors. It's a lot of feeling. That's probably why I don't like to do pastry that much. That pastry stuff, you got to measure it and do all those other things. I'm not crazy about that.
Well, listen, I cannot wait to see how this meal turns out. I'm going to watch carefully and then do my cooking after the show. But I'd love to now bring on our very special legend from the tennis world. 39 Grand Slams won, singles, doubles, and mixed, which is just a number most people just can't even fathom. Of course, the first female athlete to win the Presidential Medal of Honor, Medal of Freedom rather, which is just one of the most exquisite things I can mention about a person. And of course, the world that we see today, so much of the opportunity out there, really because of this very, very special lady. So it's with great pleasure that I bring on Billie Jean King.
Prakash, how are you? Hi, Mark. I've been enjoying listening to Mark so far. I can tell you I'm standing in our kitchen, but I can tell you we don't cook. I don't cook, but we're real good with the menus. Excellent menus, takeout. We're very supportive of the restaurants, particularly the local ones. So it's mi casa, su casa. And I'm going to come out here. Don't forget to vote. So anyway, I'm just going to come out here and we'll just see how it goes, because This is going to be fun. This is going to be great. I mean, Taste
Billie
of Taste
Jean,
has
it's
been
nice
around
to
like
see.
20 years. Hi, Mark.
Billie Jean, it's nice to see you're supporting your local restaurants. They need the help right now. So I always said, if you don't cook at home, that's fine, because restaurateurs need to make a living, and us chefs, we definitely need the support. And thank you for that support. But I mean, I want you to pay attention, and I know you can rewind. I think this is even a recipe you could make. It's super simple. But let me get started really quickly. Your water's boiling. You've got your pan. You're going to heat this up, and you're going to put your bacon in there and start getting it. You want it to melt. You want it to get a little bit brown, but not too crispy. Not like you're having that breakfast bacon. You want to start getting that cooking. And then really quickly, we can talk in a minute, but I just want to get a couple things going. You're going to put your pasta in your salted water. Now, here's what I've always said, and some people around here always laugh at me because I keep saying it over and over. But you put your pasta in the water just like that. Are we getting a close-up of that? Now, is everybody worried? Is everybody worried that this isn't in the water yet? You shouldn't be, because I'll tell you, it's going to take about 30 to 40 seconds. The other side is going to get soft, and then it's all going to go into the water. But I got to tell you, if somebody told me half the pasta is 30 seconds cooked more than the other, I won't believe them. They won't be able to tell. But the most important thing also is, Prakash, you do not want to break the pasta in half to fit it into your pot. You see how quickly that went in? So it got soft and it went in there, right? If you break the pasta in half, you can't twirl it on the side of the bowl when you're going to eat the pasta later, because it's half size, right? So you got to drop the pasta. Do not break the pasta in half. Billie Jean, I think have you broken the pasta in half before?
I don't cook. I watch everyone.
You don't cook at all.
And
you don't even break the pasta in half.
No, but I've seen people do what you're talking about quite often, actually. They break it so
that's what they call,
your point, and then they can't twirl it. Okay, I'm learning.
Well, I think that's what they call in tennis a foul, when it goes outside that little line.
Foul?
When you break the
that's
pasta.
Called out.
That's out.
Well,
what's a foul then?
Baseball. Foul is baseball.
Fouls in baseball. Wait, but I hear you like baseball, don't you, Billie Jean?
You're
a baseball fan?
I feel very great about baseball at the moment.
Well, yes, the Dodgers just won the World Series, and Ilana and I are part of the ownership group, so we're thrilled. It took 32 years since 1988, but my younger brother played 12 years of professional baseball, Randy Moffett, and he played most of those years for the Giants, which is our rivalry. So it's been pretty funny. I was upset when the Dodgers didn't draft Randy back in the 70s. So it's worked out just perfectly, though. He had a great career. And so anyway, it's great to be back in baseball. I've been away from it a long time.
Well, I have to thank you. My son and I are huge baseball fans, but we live in New York City. My son introduced me to the New York Yankees. I didn't know much about it before, but because your team beat the team that beat the Yankees, the Rays, you knocked them out. We're very happy about that at my house. Thank you for doing the work for us, because the Yankees weren't able to do it this year, but next year they'll take care of it.
You're Mark, pretty good to go with the Yankees. I used to have all their baseball cards back in the 50s in a shoebox. And before I found tennis, before somebody asked me to play tennis, as soon as somebody asked me to play tennis, I wanted to be number one in the world. So I found my sport. Tennis is the greatest. You get to hit a lot of balls in a short period of time. It's been voted, and not voted, they've actually done research and data, and tennis is the number one sport for health. So you can play it your whole life, and it keeps you moving.
Yeah,
Billie Jean,
and you don't have to wait for anybody else to show up to play with you. Sorry,
Mark, we have a couple of food related questions here from Shelly. She wants to know: do you put the olive oil in the water?
No, I don't, because olive oil and water don't mix, right? They separate. So to me, putting olive oil in the water is wasting olive oil. And I don't know, I've never understood why people do that. It seems to be the craziest thing to me, because the olive oil just floats on the top. And then when dump the pasta water out, the olive oil goes down the drain first. So there's no need to put olive oil in the water.
Are there any other meat alternatives that people could use if they can't eat what you have there?
You know what? There is a dish, and it's this little town out in Umbria. It's near Spoleto. It's a little town called Todi, and I have had once, and it's only done during wild asparagus season. But they make a carbonara. Instead of bacon, they use wild asparagus, and it's very interesting because some people think that it's not really classical, but this is what they do in Todi, in this little town, and I got to tell you, it's absolutely delicious. So I do recommend making it, and obviously wild asparagus only come around a very short period of time in this area of Italy, but you could use regular asparagus if you wanted. But I do think that the best way to do it was with bacon, and I understand some people don't eat bacon, but it's definitely the recipe I think to do. But while this is going really quickly, we actually are getting it's a cooking demonstration, so I should keep demonstrating a little bit. Pasta's cooking, the bacon is cooking. I've cracked my eggs into this bowl. I've got myself a whisk. Billie Jean, you ever seen one of these? It's a whisk. We mix up the eggs with it.
I know.
Doesn't that? Do you have anything in the kitchen?
I believe you know what it is. Yes. This is actually, I love
So you
watching
whisk
it.
your eggs. So you whisk your eggs, right? Now, very important. I know that we have this little tiny thing of black pepper. I like to put a fair amount of black pepper in my carbonara. I'm also going to put a little bit of salt. And then we're going to whisk these eggs up. I hope we're getting a good view of that. Not too complicated. And then we're going to dump a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano into my eggs. And this is basically my sauce. Now, the concept, and people think, oh, how does carbonara get creamy? I'm going to talk you through this first, okay? So this is what happens. We've got our bacon spitting at me here. Sorry, I have to calm it down a little bit. Take it easy. So what I'm going to do is my pasta, I'm going to cook it al dente, right? You're going to make sure it's cooked all the way through, but not too much. We're not there yet. You're going to drain the pasta, and then in another bowl, we're going to put the pasta back in here. Then I'm going to take I'm going to use the fat of the bacon, and I'm going to toss it with the pasta. So I'm basically introducing the bacon to the pasta. It's like a little jacuzzi for the pasta, right? It's going to be happy in there. And then in this bowl, and remember, in this bowl, not the pot that you cook the pasta in, because the pot is too hot. But what you want is you're going to then put the eggs in it, and you're going to stir very quickly. And what happens is the heat of the pasta and the bacon is just going to cook the eggs lightly, and it's going to get creamy. And that's why people think there's cream in carbonara, but there isn't. And one more very important topic of this recipe, if you're making it home and you're making it for friends, when you're about to start mixing the whole thing together, that's when you tell everybody to sit at the table, because this is a dish that gets served right away, because or else it congeals and it sort of becomes like an omelet. So you want to cook it when you want to eat it right away. That's what I got. And we're going to show you all of those steps as soon as the pasta is cooked and the bacon is ready, which is we're about 4 minutes out on this project. Any questions really quickly?
Marc, on the bacon, well, a couple of quick questions. One from Janelle. Her bacon is starting to slightly resemble breakfast bacon. So she wants to know what it should look like before reducing the heat. And at the same time, Chris is firing in a separate question. Can you add frozen peas? If so, when can you add those in?
I would say no on the frozen peas. I don't understand where that came from. This is not a classic dish. This is another one of those. This is another one of those faults outside the line. Fault. Peas. Fault. No good. Okay.
Excellent.
Let's stick to the recipe. We want to do the right. The way they make it in Rome. This is what we're looking for. So the bacon. I don't know if we can get a close up here. It's starting to get a little bit crispy. Some of the edges, the fat has rendered out. This is pretty much where I want to be. I don't want to get crispy bacon like you're having for breakfast. It's got to be a little bit softer than that, but it does have to be cooked all the way through. So checking our pasta. Look at this. pasta that's not broken in half. I have to remind people. I don't want anybody getting in trouble. We have, even because we're on television, I still got to make it right. We need another minute and 30 seconds. So talk amongst yourselves for a minute and 30 seconds and then come back to me.
Billie Jean, while the pasta's finishing up, there's a really great question that's come in from Kathy. Man, this question actually takes me back. I remember you sat me down at Wimbledon. I think I must have been 12 years old, and just kind of gave me one of the best, most inspirational talks I think I've ever had. I remember it so vividly. But on that point, she said, my 7-year-old wants to know, how many years do you have to practice before you become a champion?
Well, we have a saying in tennis that you have to play at least 10 years. And Tracy Austin, who was #1 by the time she was 16, I thought, well, gosh, she's only 16. And then I remembered, I saw her first play when she was 3 years old. So she already had 13 years of tennis. So that's why she could be champion so young. I didn't start until I was around 11. So I would have only been playing 5 years at 16. So Tracy was #1 in the world at 16 because she just hit so many balls. You have to at least think about 10 years.
That's a good one for Kathy.
What do you think, Prakash? Don't you think 10 years is a pretty good number?
I certainly think so. 10 years is a good ballpark, but I think something that you've always enforced is also maturing yourself as an individual, not just on the court.
Yes.
And that makes such a difference to your success.
Right. And I know the bacon. I'm getting worried about Mark's bacon over here.
I'm okay. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. But Billie Jean, can I ask you a quick question?
Are you? So I listen. I'm like, okay.
I know. I don't want to get any. But do you still play tennis a lot today?
No, I'm starting to play again. I've been playing a little bit with Ilana. She plays 5 times a week. So she's playing.
Oh, okay.
Now. But
I've played table tennis. Does that count?
Yes, table tennis. Anything counts. Just keep moving.
Exactly. But I also cook a lot. So here, this is the magic moment. All right. I'm sorry to take away the attention from you right now, Billie Jean, but I need the attention.
No, I want to know.
I'm like that.
Show.
Pasta's ready. Pasta's ready. We're gonna strain that.
Mark,
we have another bowl here somewhere.
Mark, on the sauce, Rebecca wants to know, it's just the eggs, the salt, Parmesan cheese. Yeah, nothing else was missing?
That's it. That's all they got. So my pasta's in the bowl, right? Let me turn off my heat over here. Pasta's in the bowl. I'm going to throw some stuff around. I'm going to put my bacon and the fat in there, okay? I think the fat has flavor. We're going to stir it around, right? So now what's happened is we've introduced our pasta to that. And then we take our eggs and our Parmesan and our black pepper. We're going to take all that. We're going to dump it in, but this is the moment of truth right here. Do not let anybody get in your way. You got to stir, stir, stir. Let's look at this. Come on in here. Nice and close. It's getting nice and creamy. See, the heat of the pasta is actually cooking the egg. This is it, guys. This is it. That's all you need. Look at that. The carbonara, it looks like to me, just because I've done this a lot, I think I need a little bit more Parmesan in there.
Mark, is there a tip
et voila.
that you can give? Arthur wants to know when the pasta is al dente. Is there a tip you can give for taking a look at that?
Yes, when you do, if you bite into it and you look at it very carefully, there should be just a tiny speck of white in the middle. But that's it, just a little bit, not too al dente. You don't want it to stick in your teeth when you're eating. That's not fun. So here we go. I wish we were together, Billie Jean, because I would love for you to try this. Because this is definitely one of those dishes you cannot do takeout because it sets up really quickly. But that's it right there, guys. It is the simple, the most delicious dish. Put a little more Parmigiano on top. Wipe the plate, and this right here with a glass of red wine is what you need to have a beautiful evening.
Billie Jean, where's Italian food for you?
Number one, I love Italy. That was always my favorite place to eat was Italy because it's so fresh. Like the vegetables, you thought had a garden in the back of the restaurant. Every time I go, it cannot be this good. It can't be this fresh, but it was. And then I love Indian. And gosh, you should like this. I love Indian. I have fish tikka almost every night. So baby, it's my salmon. I love. Oh no, I'm there. I go 5 days a week to Indian restaurant. Swag it. And I've been to Mark's Landmark. Oh, you didn't know that? I don't like it spicy, hot, but I like the spices of India. That's beautiful. And I love Italy. So I haven't been to India yet, so I couldn't make a comment on India. But I love the food in Italy. It's just amazing. And then 5 nights a week we have Indian.
Oh, we have to host you there.
Didn't you?
No,
so
now
when
we have to host you there. We got to bring you there.
Oh, good. But anyway,
when you were traveling, Billie Jean, so Billie Jean, when you were traveling, your favorite country would go to was Italy? When you travel?
As far as to eat, yes. And it was high up as far as playing either because they get so excited. They go, die, Billie, and they lift you up after you win and they throw pillows on the court. I loved it.
They're very animated.
Billie
like
Jean,
that. They're very warm people. Pardon?
Janelle has come in with another question, an interesting one actually. Your book was so brilliant. She wants to know what inspired you to write it and put everything out there.
Are you talking about Pressures of Privilege?
Yeah.
I thought about it was like the 35th anniversary of the King Riggs match, and I thought it'd be fun to weave in this match with the lessons I had learned. And I have 2 sayings, and they happened pretty quickly. I was at Fed Cup, and we were playing against Spain, and Lindsay Davenport was on the team, and she had to play Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, and she was getting very frustrated. And she looked at me, and she goes, "What should I do?" Or "What is going on?" Or she's so funny. She gets very animated sometimes. And I said, for some reason, these 2 things popped out of my mouth: pressures of privilege and champions adjust or adapt. And she went, oh, I like that. Okay. And she ended up winning because she used to have trouble beating Arantxa, and she did really great job. And we won. We beat Spain that particular time because believe me, we lost to them as well because they had Conchita Martinez. So they were a tough team, and they had 2 A players, and we also had A players. So we had great matches.
Wow, that's beautiful. Mark, now we have one coming in.
Lessons
Sorry,
in
please,
life. No, I'm just thinking about
Say
pressures of privilege. Pressures of privilege. I was trying to be like a life coach in that. Coaching is teaching, and just like Mark teaching us, he's actually a life coach too, and a life chef. So it's really important. I just thought it'd be fun for people to hear my stories and how my parents were so influential, my brother and other people. And the way you make it in life is when other people champion you. And I've been very, very fortunate. Like people in Long Beach, California, so many of them championed me as a child, and I was never the number 1 junior coming up. I wasn't the one. I wasn't the poster child, and so I really am indebted to them for the rest of my life. Because when you get championed by others, and everyone needs to be championed by a parent, by a sibling, by a friend, by a grandparent. Everyone needs to be championed, and it really makes a huge difference in that person's life. So I've spent a lot of my life trying to champion others. It really works because people did it for me, and I want to do it for others.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful, Billie Jean. The book was amazing. We all try to keep pieces of it with us.
Well, the autobiography is coming out in a year. We're just about finishing it, so another book's coming up.
Exciting! Exciting!
Just about a year from now, the book will be out. It's the autobiography. It's a rough one. It's a tough one. I mean, it's good, but it's tough. Woo! It's tough to do.
Very cool.
Re-examine
your life. Dish looks. Everyone's filing in right now with stuff. We can't wait. We can't wait for the book. That sounds amazing. Mark, on your dish, it looks amazing. Dina's followed up. I think hers is done as well, but she wants to know what's the dish you make the most at home.
Wow, it's difficult to really tell. I mean, I have a wife and 2 kids, and there's always requests. I love making lamb chops. Roast chicken is definitely one of the family favorites. Leeks vinaigrette when they're in season. Leeks with just a little red wine vinegar and a little mustard red wine vinaigrette on leeks, warm. Oh, that's a great dish. You know, you never know. I sort of go with what's there. Sometimes I come home and it's always like a chop basket to me, like the show that I work on. It's like, oh, well, we'll have to figure something out that tastes good. So yeah, no, it depends. You know, the other day I had some red lentils and a butternut squash. So I made a soup with red lentils and butternut squash. And you know, it was great stuff. It's, you know, it's whatever moves you, whatever inspiration moves me.
Very, very creative. I like that. Athletes were not always so creative. We're a little bit more structured and regimented. So Billie Jean, I'll ask you. Now Ria has fired in a question about structure and being regimented. You won so many matches, so many titles. She wants to know, what did you eat before every match? Was there a special meal?
To be honest, in the old days, we didn't eat right at all. We were taught all the wrong things, like steak and eggs for breakfast. We didn't really understand an hour before a match we should maybe have some carbs or have some spaghetti or something. So I wouldn't want to talk about the old days that much about eating, because I don't think we did it. Then we go on diets, like protein diets, and wonder why you're getting dizzy on the court. It's pretty funny. But as I got older and we had more information on nutrition, I was probably the first player to eat Pritikin, which got a lot of fat out of my diet. I really have to work hard to keep my weight down, and I have to keep track of calories. When I was doing it right, I kept track of calories. I would go to bed hungry a lot of nights to keep my weight where I needed to, but that's what you have to do if you're going to win. You can't just, my weight fluctuated a lot. If you see some old tapes, we didn't have the information available that they have today, but if I were playing today, I'd be pretty strict. And I would get structured as far as when I eat. But I'm very much habitual and have my rituals in real life, even getting ready for tonight. You know, I'm seeing Marc cook and how he's going through his things. I'm sure he's got his rituals, and I'm sure you do too. But I have a certain rhythm of life I go through to get ready for everything I do, whether it's an interview or whether it's going outside. I don't know. I've always been that way, and it really helped me to have pretty much the same ritual. For instance, I couldn't pack the night before for the next day to go to the courts. I'd always forget something. So I had to wait until I woke up in the morning and then pack my bag. But, you know, you keep getting information, you keep learning, you get better at it. And then I think meditation's really good. And I also was I always have been a person who visualizes. Even as a child, I just visualize. You know, and I can see myself winning Wimbledon, or I can see myself winning a team championship or Fed Cup or team tennis, or I prefer team sports and doubles over singles, which I don't know if people realize that. Even though I won a lot in singles, I love singles, but not like playing mixed, or like I love Owen Davidson. I got to see him lately. My old mixed partner, Rosa Gonzalez, my doubles. And I had many doubles partners, Maria Bueno, Nancy Ritchie, Karen Hance and I were the first ones we're still the youngest team ever to won Wimbledon together, 17 and 18. I was 17, she was 18, and still a record. And we just giggled. We had the best time. I love winning with the team, though. I love team, anything team. I'm there, and I've always tried to promote our sport as a team sport, because I think children like to play on teams because they like to be with their friends, and they don't like to play against their friends. And that's why I think it's really important at grassroots tennis to have team situation, whatever it is. And also it teaches you about relationships, and relationships are the most important thing in the world, with yourself, with your faith, with others. If you think about your own lives, it's so important. And through teams, you learn how to step up and lead, but you also learn how to support and be supportive. And both are just very, very important in life.
And the biggest team competition, Billie Jean, I should correct you, it's no longer the Fed Cup. What a tremendous honor. I can't say it, but you can. I'll say it very proudly. the Billie Jean King Cup, which it will now forever be known as. What a beautiful, tremendous honor. All of the girls growing up who will want to play in this prestigious competition will forever know it as this. Beautiful.
Well, there's nothing like representing your country. Like when you first, like, Prakash, I'm sure you've represented India. The first time they go 15 love, they don't say your name. They go 15 love, United States of America or something. You go, it's like, it's very different than just representing yourself.
It certainly is. Mark, I'll shift over to a food question real quick. When you're having something like this, what's the drink you would recommend to have with it? I believe you mentioned a red wine, but is there anything?
Yeah, I mean, definitely for me here, I would always have a red wine, and something a little on the heavier side probably, because this can really hold up to it. But also, remember, you always have to have the water with the red wine. It's all about balance. Have a glass of water next to your red wine. But this is definitely a red wine dish, at least in my book. This is the way I like to eat it. And this to me is also a dish. Some people are like, it's a winter dish or a summer dish. This is a dish. It's year round. This is the dish that I think you could have any time of the year, any place, as long as you got the ingredients.
I think I read this is your favorite dish, isn't it? Carbonara, isn't it?
It is one of my favorite. Absolutely one of my favorite dishes. By all means. I mean, first of all, Italian food is my favorite. I mean, not to put anything out on anybody else's food, but if I'm going to cook, if I'm going to have to live in one country for the rest of my life and eat one type of food, it would probably be Italy. I think exactly what you said, Billie Jean, is about every time you eat, you do think that the garden is right behind the restaurant. And a lot of the times in Italy, it is. You can't drive around Italy, and even on the trains, you drive by these little plots of land on a train, and you look out the window, and there's lettuce, and there's tomatoes growing. People just love growing vegetables in Italy, and I think it's a good lesson that I think we should take on. I think that everybody should have a little garden in their backyard if they can, and grow their own food, because I plant lettuce at my country house, and it just comes up and it keeps going, and it's. It doesn't cost anything. It's a couple seeds, and you plant it and it grows. It's great.
Mark, so it seems like everyone is enjoying their food here from the comments I'm seeing, but we have a little bit of a off-subject topic from Barbara. Barbara, Billie Jean wants to know, what are your thoughts on pickleball? Seems to be a huge craze going around it now.
Well, whatever, as long as you love it and whatever keeps you moving, I'm all for it. And it's the fastest growing sport, I think, right now. And I told the USTA years ago, I said, you should buy pickleball. This is like 12, when it first came out. Do you remember when it first came out? And I was curious, but because what I would do at every club is have a pickleball on a tennis court. So if you have a pickleball tournament, you have a lot of courts. Or if you play have a tennis tournament, you've got enough courts. So I would put the pickleball boundaries on a tennis court, and that way you can play either or and take care of your customer.
Oh, that's a great idea. Would allow for people to have even more fun.
Yeah, because what some clubs do is they make pickleball courts, and then let's say they make I heard somebody tell me, we have 3 pickleball courts, and we have 3 tennis courts. I said, what happens when you have a tennis tournament or a pickleball tournament? Don't you need more than 3? And they went, haven't thought about that. So I think it's really important to be efficient as much as we can with our land.
We have 2 interesting questions that both come in. I can't decide which one I would like to ask first. But first, I guess to Mark, is it a big no-no to throw some crushed red chili peppers on there? Deidre wants to know.
I mean, look, I think that for me, carbonara is all about the black pepper. So I think the black pepper is where you go. It's a different type of heat. If you want the crushed red chili flakes there, I would go with a matriciana, where it's guanciale or bacon, it's tomato, chili flakes. That is another really beautiful dish. But I would say stick with the black pepper, give it a try. I mean, look, it's not a sin if you're going to put a little chili flake on there, but it is black pepper on this thing. And I've never heard anything about pickleball. The only thing I know about pickles, they go really good with the BLT, and it's on the side, right in the diner. That's how I take my pickles. I don't know what you're talking about.
Go to the diner, get me the pickle. Or a deli, or you go to the deli, get me a pickle.
Mark, I'm gonna tell my dad that, because he is very heavy with the crushed red chili peppers. He likes it He likes it spicy.
Oh.
Got it.
Billie G, this is an interesting one. You're at a level which is just, you transcended sport. You're an icon, very frankly. So this shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but how do you feel? Nina Pantic wants to know, our good friend Nina Pantic, how does it feel that people dress up as you for Halloween? Do you find it cool? Is it exciting? Is it weird?
No, I think it's exciting. I think it's cool. People send me their photos. They, now obviously on social, they put them up now. I love it. And most of the time they have to have Bobby Riggs next to them as well. So it's pretty funny. But a lot of couples do that. But I think it's fun. As long as people are having fun, that's what I like, just enjoy yourselves. But it's a privilege when I see people, they dress up like me. I kind of get embarrassed actually, but it's also, I love it. So it's really amazing. And, just to, look at this. I want to thank Citi and Citi Taste of Tennis. I know Judy and Penny all these years who started it. Judy started it 20 years ago, Judy Lerner. So, thanks for having me. And to Citi, thank you so much for sponsoring it, because if without sponsors, we don't make it. So I really appreciate it. And I hope the people out there, the Citi guests, are really having fun with this, because I love watching Marc tonight. I love listening to you, Prakash. Marc, you're gonna get me kind of excited. I might have to start learning how to cook again, but I never like to cook. I like to eat though, man. No, maybe no, but I really enjoyed this. You know what I really like? Everyone writing in, and you can tell what they do with it. You can tell. I want my peas, or I want the, well, you had the bacon, but or I want the chili peppers, you can tell how they do it, which I thought was really interesting, because they keep asking you, but you can tell that's the way they want to do it. And I thought, well, just get creative. I don't know what Marc thinks, but do whatever makes you happy, right? I mean, I don't know. There's no sense.
Exactly.
It seems like you guys, you cooks, you get pretty excited. I love it. I love meeting all of you. I've met a lot of you, and of course, I've eaten at Landmark so many times in the past. So I know you're cooking.
That's so nice of you. And obviously, we love watching sports and we love watching tennis. And this has been great to be able to get together like this. Still, everybody's reinventing the wheel right now, and we still get together. We get to cook. We get to have interaction. We get to talk to people, and we get these questions, and absolutely beautiful times. And you're right. There's only a couple rules in cooking. It's just, the breaking the pasta. No, none of that. And, the black pepper. I only make up a couple rules here and there, but absolutely, exactly. Thank you to Citi and to obviously Taste of Tennis. This has always been a great event, and bar none, they're keeping it going. I love it.
This has been great for during COVID too. I think it's wonderful that we can reach out to each other, and I think cooking is just one of the best things you can think about during COVID. And to all the families who've gone through, and the frontliners and all that, man, it's been a rough go since February, March. And I just hope everyone's okay. And I can't wait to get back to where we can go back out to restaurants again and go indoors or outdoors. But I must say they've adapted, haven't they, Marc? These outside, at least in New York, it looks like more like Paris.
I think everybody's adapting, and everybody's trying to, they're bobbing and weaving. But I have to say also, as well as people liking going to restaurants and trying to figure out how to do it, I've been extremely excited, my son especially, that sports got back on television. I mean, that the athletes came to a conclusion and they figured out how to do it safely. Baseball, tennis, football, all these things. It's just something that we as people need. We need entertainment. And obviously it's something that a lot of people are interested in. And as as tennis players, it's something that, you're doing the world an amazing service by all these athletes still getting out there and performing and at the highest levels possible, and inspiring younger kids, inspiring younger generations to get out there and do it themselves. It's a great thing to be able to do during the COVID time and all times, but also inspire them to stay healthy and get out there and exercise and do what they do. And thank you guys for what you do.
We're very lucky, and
Marc,
we're lucky to have the U.S. Open. We're lucky to have the U.S. Open. They wouldn't let me go out and watch even at the U.S. Open. That's how strict they were with the health, with the bubble. And I think it really paid off. Although it made me very unhappy. It was the first time I had missed since 1959 when I was 15 years old, and I'd gone every single year since then, and I didn't get to go, which is very minor when you think of what everyone's going through. And also the tennis center helped with the hospital, having a place where they had people come if they didn't have COVID. That was overflowing with COVID patients, and then they had no place to put other patients for other things. So we really contributed that way. And also we're a platform. You saw Naomi Osaka get up there and talk about Black Lives Matter and had a different mask every match. There's 7 matches if you're going to win. So we contribute to trying to help others. We want our sport not just to stay in a closed situation. We want to make a difference globally to everyone and make a better world.
Billie Jean, the U.S. Open, all the events that took place, it as Marc said, it's given everyone such hope and such a release and such inspiration at a time we all desperately need it. I'm sitting here in Los Angeles, and let me tell you, the last week over the baseball games, people have just been going mad over here. They've been so excited, waiting so long for this drought to be over for the Dodgers. What was the atmosphere like over there?
Even though it wasn't full at Arlington, it's a brand new park, the Rangers Park. It's absolutely brand new, and they have a roof. So they could close the roof. They had terrible weather. It was raining a lot. So that was really helpful. And they could keep the temperature control so everyone wasn't too cold. And even though we had probably only 20% full, it's amazing the noise the fans made and got behind it. And so many people, to your point, Prakash, had driven or flown from Los Angeles area that are Dodgers fans and other areas if they're fans. And they were there. And I've never seen so many Dodger outfits and Tampa Bay. And it was really great. And everyone was good to each other, because some nights you didn't win and you'd be leaving the stadium together, and you could tell, who people were for. Everybody had either Dodgers or Tampa Bay on, walking out to the hotels or whatever. It was pretty funny, but everyone was good to each other. There was no like getting crazy, but it was a long haul for the Dodgers. They had so many chances to win, and everybody says, "Oh, they're the best team." Well, we've heard that in our sport too. Oh, they're the best; they should win, and they don't. So they finally earned it. But it was pretty tight. It was really tight. And I'll tell you one thing, it's the only time I've had a headache. I never get headaches. I got a headache. I must say, I got a headache. I can't believe I have a headache. And it's so tense to watch. But when I watch tennis, it's the same thing. If I want someone to win, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's so tense.
Billie Jean,
but it makes it so great.
I know we have some youngsters watching here too, who fired in a few questions. But before we close up, I've always wanted to ask you. You've been so involved in team sports. You've talked about it and the beauty of it here. I was fortunate enough to play for your Philadelphia Freedoms, which is just a magnificent experience. My question is, especially for youngsters, even if they want to follow an individual sport like a tennis or a golf, how important is it getting involved in some sort of team aspect as you're growing up?
I think they've proven now, they've done research and have data on this, that it's really important to play other sports as well when you're young. So when you finally want to specialize, when you get to 11, 12, 10, that you actually do very much better because you're a better athlete, because you've learned different skill sets in teams as well as individuals. And the greatest thing about tennis is that we're a team sport and an individual sport. We're the only sport that I know of that has both. And it's amazing how great it is because of that. Other sports, badminton, other racket sports do it also. But as far as anything else, I just think we have it over other sports because of that. We have choices for people. Doubles, mixed, together, not together, team. I just think we're very fortunate. Like if you want to play for your high school team, your college team, all those things add up. And I think team is good to learn about life and getting along. But I also think it's good to be on your own and be resilient by yourself as well. And so tennis has all of these qualities, and pickleball probably does too. It's really good. And I think when you get older, pickleball is really attractive because you don't have to run as far. It's a little bit slower, and it's a little bit, and you serve underhand. So if you have shoulder problems, you're not as in much trouble. So I just think it's good to keep moving, whatever makes you happy.
Billie Jean, I think we have time.
Marc's cooking, when he's throwing. Marc's always moving when he cooks. He's quite. I was watching all his moves when he was cooking.
Well, this dish that Marc has whipped up and has recommended, there's so much praise for it in our chat box here. I think everyone seems to have done a good job. They're all enjoying eating now as they get to listen to both of you, which is so special for our exclusive group tonight. Marc, I just want to ask you and Billie Jean one more question each. Marc, I'm just going to start with you. I read that you are someone that absolutely does not complain. It is just, not something you do. And just a question, because to rise to your level of success, you definitely have to have a strong competitive spirit, a strong hunger for moving past challenges. So just a word. We've heard so many beautiful pearls from Billie Jean, and I'd love the audience to get both from you.
Well, I would say I am competitive in my field, of course, of what I do, and we're always competing, but it's always a friendly competition because we're cooks. We're also very generous. We're generous in our time. We're generous with our knowledge. We never, we're never trying to hide recipes from each other or anything like that. And no, I try not to complain. I always find, complaining really doesn't get me anywhere. And if it's something that I don't like, well, I should probably figure out how to change it. It's my problem. It's so no, I try not to complain about anything. Why? It's just gonna, I did work for some chefs along the way or some other colleagues that would get upset and get frustrated. And I was like, well, that's not doing anybody any good. Well, let's just fix the problem. And then we don't have to complain about it. We can move on with our day and have a happy day. We're not here that long. We might as well enjoy ourselves. So why make it more difficult? That's sort of my motto. And every day, try to have as much fun as you can and, have a good meal and a glass of wine. You're winning in my book.
Billie Jean, you were completely right.
How's it being a judge on Chopped, right? Aren't you a judge on Chopped?
Yes, I am a judge on Chopped. It's actually one of the most rewarding things because I get to see beautiful ingredients. I get to see beautiful people that love our industry, that love food, that love cooking. It's always difficult because we do have to chop 3 out of the 4 contestants that show up, but they know that before they get there. And it is sort of it's a bit of a game show. Some people make it, some people, mess up. They know but it's a wonderful, friendly competition. At the end of the day, somebody wins $10,000 and I get to eat some beautiful food and meet beautiful people. And that to me is the win because we really get to see, we get to see some of the best of our industry and some of the biggest hearts of our industry as well. I think it's an industry that really, people can work from the bottom up and really make it in this industry. And it's great to see that happen.
Well, I do watch Chopped sometimes. It's really interesting. I love it. So anyway, I like to watch all of you work. Yeah. So what are you going to ask me, Prakash?
Well, I'm struggling here because there's so many questions coming in for you.
Well, okay, let me talk about you then. I'm fortunate enough to have known his dad, VJ, really well. And then I met Prakash, like you said, at Wimbledon when you were a little guy. And then you played for the Freedoms. And you're a really great team player. Didn't you play at college also at SC? Did you play at SC?
Yes, we were fortunate enough. We won a title at USC. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. I had it right. So I really appreciate you're such a great team player because a lot of players are not, but I do find the ones that go to college and play for a team they do better. They're much better adjusted socially because it's a tough life on the tour. So I find that they're better adjusted. They do better. They're happier. You're happier. So you played great. I mean, I really enjoyed it and you played really tough when it counted. So thanks. That was good. But what do you want to ask me? You said you have a lot of questions.
Well, you absolutely made my year with that. So thank you, Billie. And
I watch you on TC all the time on Tennis Channel.
Thank you, Billie Jean. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Well, listen, I've asked you so many questions that I've wanted to ask, so I should. Still, there's so many questions here for you. So I'm going to give it to Kathy's 7-year-old son because he seems to be very inspired by you. So the last question that's going to come in is, what was your favorite tournament to win? to play?
Oh boy. In my day, we were taught that unless you won Wimbledon, you couldn't be number one. So that was very much on my mind as a child because that's what I read about and dreamt about. But as I got older and being an American, winning the U.S. Open, I look back now, there was so many politics going on. But if I were born today and playing, I know how important it is to win your own country's national championship. And I know the U.S. Open and the French and Australian has much more stature now than when I was playing as a younger person. But I think each person has to decide what is their favorite for different reasons. And usually I can guarantee you this, wherever you do the best as far as your record is, you're going to like that one probably the best because you're going to have fonder memories. Nothing's worse than going to a tournament where I did not do well. And I don't know, it's much harder. And I couldn't figure out why sometimes. I go, why am I not producing here? And I sometimes, most of the time I had trouble figuring it out. But I look back and I go, I know why, because I lost here more often. So, it's like, duh. But I just think it's best to put just give it 100%, be all in on everything in life because it pays off every time. You see how Mark is given 100% when he's cooking and ingredients and giving us great information. Then Prakash, I can tell you've planned for this today and did your homework. And, it really makes a difference. It's fantastic when whatever you do out there, to all of you people, the city guests, for the Taste of Tennis, just every morning we wake up, it's really, first of all, it's a privilege, and just give it everything you've got because it's a blessing. It's like we're lucky, and have fire in the belly for the day, for the challenges of the day, and just try to be good to each other. I don't know, just give it all you got. That's all you can do in life, and then you won't get upset with yourself. Of course, Mark never gets upset, so I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen,
good advice.
We got to talk to your wife whether you get upset or not, and your children, not you. I want to talk to your wife and children. Does Mark ever get upset?
Everyone out there has been getting some real pearls of wisdom here from Billie Jean and from Mark. I know I've just had such an exquisite time. I've had chills listening to you, Billie Jean, and Mark. That looks brilliant. I really hope I'm fortunate enough to come and taste some of your food sometime. I know Billie Jean and I would love to do this in person if we all get another chance.
That would be nice.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
So I guess with that, Mark, I'm just gonna thank you so much for your time, for helping us through this recipe. I'm gonna go give it a shot now. I'll send you a text, let you know how it goes. Hopefully it's okay.
Good.
And Billie Jean,
I want to thank Andy and Chris here who've had to come and make a studio here so we could have this opportunity. So I want to thank them as well. And everyone who's produced the show, all the camera guys, the writers, the producers, everybody, just thank you. It's not easy. Everyone thinks these Zoom calls and these things are really easy. They're not. There's a lot that goes into it. So thank you, everyone who prepared for this.
Billie Jean, it's been an absolute honor. So thank you so much, Mark. Thank you. Look forward to seeing both of you in person soon.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for having me. Pleasure. Thank you to Citibank.
Thank you.
Thank you.